Auzubillahiminash-shaytanir-rajim. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamualaikum. Jiayanum, Pukhairagale, Ni Hao, Churushumme, Washmale. Ohio Genzaimas, Guten Morgen, Ola, Bonjour, Privyet, Kaifahal, Halashuma Chatore, Ahlan Masal, Marhaba, Buna, Mucho, Gracia, Swabi, or Bali Kereaya, Hosh Galden, and Iosayo, Huya, Mora, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for tuning into PTV World. You certainly watching World this morning, and the name happens to be Shahzad Hassan Khan. We hope and pray that everybody out there is doing wonderfully well and that you're ready to kickstart your day with us. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I think it's getting a little more colder over here in Islamabad. It was raining last night, it was raining the day before, and it's raining even as of now while we speak, while we're on air, while we are actually right in front of your eyes on your television screens. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, it's wonderful to be over here to render my services for the Pakistan Television Network every single day. I think that's the kind of motivation every individual needs to have in life. Because there's one simple thing which I've been very vocal about, and wherever I go, I would always speak about it, and that is that every single day is exactly like another opportunity for you which has been bestowed upon you by the Allah Almighty. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, when Allah gives you that opportunity, I believe what you really need to do is you need to get up. First of all, be thankful to Allah Almighty for the kind of life you have, alhamdulillah. Next, you really need to get ready and make sure that you show up and seize that opportunity which is right in front of you. Because having said that, there's just this little philosophy behind that, and that philosophy is that imagine that for all of those opportunities, we beg Allah Almighty for. For example, when we pray 5 times a day, after that, when we pray that Allah, please, this is something which I want so bad in my life, please give it to me. Once Allah bestows that blessing onto you or upon you, ladies and gentlemen, please make sure that you take it with 100% dedication and motivation and commit to it 100%. And that's exactly which we will be talking about. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, first up, let's take a good look at what's happening inside Pakistan and on the planet which we call Earth. Ladies and gentlemen, first up, the top stories. Number 1, Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif has emphasized for united efforts to steer the country out of all challenges. He was addressing the launching ceremony of Prime Minister's youth, business and agricultural loan schemes in Islamabad. The Prime Minister said that Pakistan is passing through difficult times and resolved that he would sacrifice all his political career and life for the sake of the country. I think such is the leadership which is required even in tough times which Pakistan is going through as of now. And we truly do trust and we have our faith and belief within the entire team of the current government as well. And Prime Minister Mia Mohammad Shahbaz Sharif Sahab, ladies and gentlemen, is not leaving any stone unturned to make sure that Pakistan is back on track with where we are headed towards prosperity and success. And having said so, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the Foreign Minister Bilawal Bhutto Zardari, who was actually stressed for a collective approach to address the issues faced by the region, including the climate change. Addressing the 26th meeting of Council of Ministers of Economic Cooperation Organization in Tashkent, Uzbekistan, he said the regional countries need to develop a strategically robust emergency response mechanism to respond to any climate crisis in future. And having said that, I think that for a longer period of time, we have been having a conversation with people, from different walks of life, and how, we really need to kind of deal with how we are so vulnerable as a nation to climate change. And ladies and gentlemen, we have seen that the most devastating floods in the recent times, where 33 million people were affected, and we had losses of infrastructure, which actually kind of raises up to $40 billion as well. And we are glad that for all of those nations and banks who actually came forward, in terms of pledges, we might receive that $8 billion as well. We're in conversation with other countries or other global powers as well, and making sure, because it's not Pakistan, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's one thing which everybody needs to understand. It's not just Pakistan who's vulnerable to climate change. I think it's all the other countries who are out there as well. And having said that, while we're not even a contributor, I think 0.0% is the kind of contribution when we talk about carbon footprint. I think that the entire globe, entire world really needs to come together and make sure that, for our future generations, we're leaving behind a very sustainable environment where people could live happily and are not vulnerable to climate change. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, moving on towards the last one, where a top Indian university, this is not something which a university should do. A top Indian university has banned the screening of a BBC documentary about Prime Minister Narendra Modi's role during the deadly 2002 sectarian riots after his government attempted to block its spread online. The broadcaster's program alleges that the Hindu nationalist Modi, premier of Gujarat state at the time, ordered police to turn a blind eye to an orgy of violence there that left at least 1,000 people dead, most of them minority Muslims. And Bilal Bhutto Zardari Saab even just a few days ago have said in one of his remarks that, Modi happens to be a butcher of Muslims as well, and which is, ladies and gentlemen, is the real truth. But having said that, we obviously want each and every one of you to kind of have a great day. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan government day in, day out is making sure that they work towards the betterment of the Pakistani people. And such is an example which we will be sharing with you today, and it gives me immense pride to introduce my worthy guest over here. But having said that, as I've mentioned before, that, ladies and gentlemen, that the catastrophe or the devastation which was spread by the floods just in recent times is something which makes us more vulnerable to climate change. And having said that, we really need to work towards the betterment of the people. We really need to work towards poverty alleviation. And having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that, right after the floods, there might have been quite a decrease, in fact, when we speak about people's ability to live life the way they were living. And, having said that, I think with there's an increase in poverty, and there are a lot of people who've been pushed down the poverty line as well. And what is the Ministry of Poverty Alleviation and Social Security doing in this regard is something which we will be discussing. We're very lucky, ladies and gentlemen, that we've been joined by one of our most amazing political figures over here inside the studios with us. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister of State on Poverty Alleviation and Social Security, Social Safety, he is Mr. Faisal Kareem Kundi. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Assalamu alaikum ji, and good morning.
Walaikum assalam, sir, and thank you so much for joining us. And you absolutely look stunning, dapper, alhamdulillah, which I believe for a political figure to give influence, I think that's something which is wonderful. And a very warm welcome to our morning show as well. But sir, having said that, first of all, I would want you to kind of share with our audiences out there, because we go out in 46 different countries, that what kind of devastation was spread by the floods within Pakistan, and how do you think that the Ministry of Poverty and Alleviation is actually working towards making sure that the people are going to live a healthier and a better life in days to come?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. As you have mentioned about the flood, and in the recent past, we have got the devastating flood in Pakistan.
Sir.
And everyone knows, and all the world knows, because the way we have presented our case into the world community, where UN Secretary General was here and other dignitaries were here in Pakistan, and they have seen with their own eyes, and they have presented the Pakistan case in UN also and everywhere. And recently, if you see, when the foreign minister was visiting different countries, pleading the case of Pakistan about floods and other things, in recent few days back, you have seen in Geneva, when we have got this pledge of $10 billion for Pakistan, which we were not expecting that much, but the thing which Foreign Office and Foreign Ministry and the government of Pakistan, the Prime Minister has done for Pakistan, and they have gone. And then when there was criticism that why the government of Pakistan is, or especially the Foreign Ministry, are visiting that much countries, because in past government, unfortunately, we have lost our friends and brothers also in thing of you can say in relationship or in friendship, who used to stand for Pakistan.
True.
But right now we are again trying our level best to bring them back on the same page which we were before.
Inshallah. And
Inshallah.
That's exactly what we want as well. But sir, having said that, I think we certainly really need to applause for the kind of initiatives taken by the Ministry of Poverty Alleviation as well. And having said that, first quarter payment for the, I think, under the Benazir Income Support Program, 55 billion rupees has been released for the women out there which have been registered under the Kafalat program as well. So can you share a little bit on that too as well, and how?
Yes, this is basically Benazir Income Support Program.
Yes.
Is under Poverty Alleviation Ministry, and we have got 8.7 million beneficiary who we are supporting right now. This installment of 3 month installment is already on the way, and it's 55 billion rupees.
Yes.
Plus we have registered their children also, and we are giving them scholarship for the schools, and 13 billion rupees for them have also been, 2 installments we are giving them, and 13 billion are also been released. But saying that when there was flood, the government of Pakistan decided that we want to support the flood affected area and the families who are affected by the flood. So they have asked the Benazir Income Support Program, they want support, because we have got specific beneficiary.
Okay.
If the score of poverty is 32 or under 32, we were supporting them. So when the local government, or you can say the local administration, they send the report to PDMA, and PDMA send that report to NDMA, that which area has been affected. So when NDMA send the report to us, like so and so districts or tehsils or this area are affected, uh, within no time we have given the information to the government that 2.8 million beneficiary of BISP has been affected.
True.
So the government of Pakistan, the Prime Minister decided that we will give them 25,000 rupees per family. It was 70 billion rupees, and I appreciate my team, the ministry also, that within 1 month we have distributed that 70 billion rupees to the affected of flood. I will say here it's not 100%, but 97 to 98% family has received these funds. 2% which has not received this fund because they might have migrated, their connection was, we don't have their connection, like maybe their mobile numbers have changed or something.
Right.
But locally we are trying our level best to reach them, and whatever remaining amount is we have got, we should give it to them.
Wow.
So this is the thing. But before that also, when we came to the government, there was fuel prices were increased. So government decided to give 2,000 rupees subsidy to the beneficiary of BSP, and 8.7 million multiplied by 2, you can say how much money government has done.
I think it's quite a lot as well. So having said that, 70 billion rupees were actually distributed amongst 2.8 million people. Then we've spoken about how 55 billion rupees, the first quarterly payment for the women, is out there as well. And I believe, sir, it's wonderful. But how do you think?
But there is one more thing also. We are working with World Food Program
Yep.
on nutrition for the pregnant women and the children age 2 or below 2. We are supporting them also.
Wow.
And it's almost around 18 billion rupees we have to distribute them.
And
also.
how many children, if we are to kind of give out a figure to all of our viewers as well, how many children?
I can give you the exact figure like within few days,
All
because
right.
thing is we have to calculate all the ladies who are women who are like pregnant or nutrition program, and their children also. So we will be with
Sir,
the
the best part is that the people of Pakistan are being looked after by the government of Pakistan. I think this is something which
This
makes
is
me
what
happy.
the Benazir Income Support Program is the you can say ministry or the department who has got the Pakistan women, you can say, or the families. We have got the poverty score. Whoever comes from abroad, if they want to know the poverty score or they want to work with poverty, they can come to our ministry and we can give them within minutes. Like if somebody calls you that why I am not in the BSP program, if I put it on my like my department will put it in the laptop their ID card number, they will tell them why you are not beneficiary of this.
So they will have a fair reason out there as well. So for people who are actually complaining that, why am I not under the Benazir Income Support Program, so there's this simple software out there. You put in the ID card number and you would know whether they
But
deserve
if they
be
want
there.
to know, like if suppose if they want to know right now, they can just we are getting like on our social media, Twitter, Facebook, we are getting complaints or things from, and our team is there for 24 hours. Then replying within 24 hours, they're replying them why you are not beneficiary, what's your problem, we can solve. Because thing was in past there was a lot of things because they were not like if one poor lady comes to the office.
True.
If this is PTV building, first they have to cross the gate, then come, then there will be a lot of rush. But if they are sitting on their mobile or something and they just put their complaint, they will easily get their information that why you are not the beneficiary. But one more thing which I want to tell you here, because in the last government, 800,000 cards were blocked. And reason was that whoever have got the 5 SIMs under their name, who have got 1,000 easy load to their mobile, who have got executive ID card or executive passport, or if they have got their car in their name or his spouse, if they have traveled abroad, if they have got like official job. So thing is, if you go to basically BSP program is for the rural area.
True.
In rural area, normally we have got 2 SIMs, 3 SIMs, and then if your mobile is lost, they don't go for duplicate, they go for new SIM.
True. So that's
Okay.
where you lost contact.
If I have got my staff with me, my staff office or something, and I ask him, you put 1,000 rupees or 2,000 rupees in your mobile and make calls for me, he is not responsible for that.
True.
Then if you are going to our Umrah, Hajj or Ziyarat,
Then obviously.
and this is like...
So there are grievances. That's
Yes.
what you're trying to
So what we have done is that we have gone there and we have unblocked their cards, but there's again check on that. If their score in this time has crossed 32,
Okay.
it will not be open. If they have not done their survey, which was done last time, they will not be open. They have to go for their resurvey, and if they have crossed 32, then it will not be open. Other cards are unblocking, like slowly and gradually we are unblocking them.
I think it's wonderful. So, having said that, you spoke that in the previous government, 800,000 plus cards were blocked. How many have been unblocked by now?
Round about 50,000 cards are being unblocked. It's not the exact figure, but thing is we are doing it day by day.
All right.
So we are just checking them and doing it.
So the
day by
survey
day.
is taking place continuously.
The dynamic survey, the one thing is that our survey was, every 5 years there is a survey of Belgium support program. Our survey was expected in 2024.
Okay.
But because of flood where whole of Balochistan is damaged, 90% of Sindh is damaged,
Sindh, yeah.
then South KP and South Punjab is damaged. So what we have done is we are going for dynamic survey.
Okay.
And hopefully soon the Prime Minister and the Foreign Minister is going to launch their survey within few days. And that survey is going to start. The other thing which we have done, positive thing with the basic income support program is a few days back, like 2, 3, 4 weeks back, we have put this transgender in our scheme also.
True.
Whoever is transgender, they can go to the another office. They will make their ID card. When they bring their ID card, they can go to their any local basic income support program office, and they can be our beneficiary also.
Sir, I had one more question. So while I was researching about it, and that was that this is large amount of money, and so the dispensing actually takes place from Habib Bank, I guess, and Bank Al Falah. So why do you think that the government is relying on private banks rather than banks which are owned by the government?
There is a reason behind it, because when it was started in 2008, when we were in the government previously, when People's Party government was there and we started this basic income support program, what we did is first was that
when democracy revived.
Yeah, first what we did, we gave the form to all the parliamentarians.
Okay.
There was a question mark from the international donors that if you are giving it to any of the parliamentarian, they can give it to their own people.
अपनी मर्जी से किसी को भी दे दिए.
And they can be rich or they can be poor.
True.
So then we went for the survey or third party like survey we went for. Then they said then they admit that it's fine. So we trust this organization.
So which is why we have private banks in place, so that
No, at that time the money was distributed through the postmans.
Okay.
Then there were a lot of complaints from the beneficiaries that when the postman comes, for example, it's 7,000 rupees, they give us 5,000, 6,000, they say we don't have other money, we will give you next, after 3 months we will come and give it to you.
Okay.
So they said, okay, give us 5,000, we are fine. So then we want transparency in it. Then we went for the ATM cards. So when we went for the ATM cards, then there was again complaint that the guy, whoever is standing on the ATM machine, because the poor lady or the
cannot operate the
ATM machine. That what is ATM machine?
They take away 1,000-2,000 rupees.
Again, that was
yes.
So then we went to banks.
Okay.
So 2 banks were being selected, and they have been distributed like Islamabad, Punjab, or something, Balochistan, some of this, and then KP, and the other is on Al Falah Bank.
True.
Then they have got their own retailers. Suppose in one district they have got 20 retailers, 15 retailers. Still we have complained. We are always telling the beneficiaries, when you go to retailer, take receipt, don't give them 1 penny also. Because when they are doing transition, they are getting 32, 33 rupees officially from them.
Okay.
So don't, because we have got complaints that this retailer is getting 500 rupees, 1,000, 2,000. If I am retailer, you came to me, okay, fingerprints done. I don't have money, come tomorrow to so and so shop or place and you get it. When they go there, they don't give them 7,000, they give them 5,000, 6,000, this. So we are always asking them, don't give, if there is any complaint, just tell our local office.
You have a lot of call centers in place now.
Call center, there is social media, just tag us.
Videos and whatnot, I've seen that all.
Just tag us and say this so and so has done this to me, their machine will be blocked. Now what we are doing way forward is, now we have again going towards transparency. We are going for this bank like accounts.
Okay.
So we can ask our beneficiary that they can open account in any of the bank they want, and there will be direct debit to their account.
So it's not really important whether you open your account in HBL or Bank Al Falah.
Any bank,
open anywhere.
Any bank, their money will come to their accounts.
Wow.
And we are still, our doors are open. If anybody has any suggestion for transparency, we welcome them to give a suggestion and we will follow them.
I think that's wonderful too as well. But sir, with the ATM cards from HBL or Bank Al Falah, I think that the people who still do not know or they are not well aware of how the automated teller machines are used, I think that the problem will still exist. Or do you think?
No, the retailer is something else. You go there, they've got this machine.
Okay.
You go and have your fingerprints.
And
it's
then
accepted. They said, okay, it's accepted. And then it's not ATM machine.
Okay.
You accept it, and then they can give you cash
So
there.
the teller will give you the cash.
Yes.
I think that's wonderful. So it's making sure that that it's all
But still,
transparent.
there is complaints. Our team are going there. If there is any complaint, just let us know. Their machine will be blocked.
सर ये ऐसे ही जैसे पाकिस्तान की टीम जब सिलेक्ट होती है ना सर तो उसके बाद काफ़ी सारे लोगों की शिकायत रहती है कि पाकिस्तान की क्रिकेट टीम में ये तब्दीली
No,
होनी चाहिए थी।
thing is that, like I have told you, that postman, then ATM machine, then this,
True.
then bank accounts. We can go for more transparency. We are going for we are getting suggestions from different people that you should do this, you should do this. Anybody have got we want each and any single penny should not be deducted and they should go to the beneficiary.
Wow. And sir, under your leadership, I think what I certainly want to kind of share over here with our viewers as well, that the Nashonama program has been extended to 118 districts across the country and 169 facilitation centers. Please share on that too.
You know, because actually BISP, when it started from 2008, the problem was from 2013 we have got, we don't have our, majority we don't have our team. We are working on the officers who are on deputation.
Okay.
We
So
are
meager resources.
we are trying our level best that we should have our own team.
Okay.
Then their thing is that we should have office in every tehsil of our district.
But don't you have your own team?
Actually, from 2008 to 13, when we started, we have just recruited our team. Then, when 2013 to till last comment or till now, they said, okay, we are not going for new hiring. We will go for deputation. You are
So
coming
from
from
here and there.
PTV, some here and there, but that's not your team.
Okay.
That is your team, but it's not your original team.
Okay.
If you are from PTV, I hire you today. Tomorrow, PTV say we want us back.
Yeah.
So I'm on the ground.
I hope so. PTV
No,
will
it's
actually say that.
for example, because thing is this. So if you have our own team, thing is when you have own team, they are going to work in that. And then this department, everybody was earlier thinking it might be political because it's Benazir Bhutto name and it might be closed tomorrow, something like this. People reluctant. But when international community said that no, we trust this.
Wow.
If we started in the name of Benazir Bhutto was martyred, when we came to the government, we said we should have something in her name.
True.
So if you talk about last comment, it was not fair with this thing. They changed this name to Asas or something like this.
They changed the name.
But it was Act of Parliament. They could not change it because there was again sign there of BISP also.
True.
If you talk about motorway, Nawaz Sharif will come in your mind.
True.
If like in previous government, we were seeing in village or rural area when last government ministers were visiting and they were saying this is Asas and the woman was saying no, this is Benazir card.
True.
And then they made some cards for like written Asas card is for you. But thing is, this is started 2008. It's Benazir support program. Now the village women there, they said this is Benazir card, whatever you name it.
And thank you very much, sir, for saying that as well, because I think that, I'm sorry, but I'll have to admit it over here that most of the projects which were undertaken by the previous government, they actually only changed their nameplates. I think that's what they did.
You know,
because
this
they were
health
conceived by
card,
the previous
I'm telling you, the
government.
health card was Benazir support program, baby. But they copy paste it and put it. Okay, they did it, but it was copy paste from BSP, like we were going for that also. Now recently what we have done is the new scheme we have launched a few days back, the Prime Minister has launched. Whoever is Benazir support program beneficiary, if they've got their, like we have got given them one code.
Okay.
They will dial that code, they will got their number, they will get the code. With that code they can go to the utility store, they can have subsidized rate flour,
Yeah.
Sugar and oil. These three items are like on the very low prices for them,
But
once a month.
But sir, now I have another question, and that is that obviously, I think it's great and it's a wonderful initiative, and from back 2008 till now, I think a lot of people have faith in it as well, and a lot of people's livelihood totally depends on Benazir income support program as well. But have you seen people kind of surpassing that poverty line as well with the kind of help which the government has been giving them, or do you think that after floods the situation has gotten more worse because a lot of people might have been pushed down the poverty line as well? So how's the condition so far? Do you see people graduating from the poverty line, or do you see people coming down to the poverty line?
Unfortunately, why we are doing dynamic survey, because the people are going down the poverty line because of the flood. And this flood,
Inflation.
I appreciate your team also. When I was in Deir Ismail Khan in my area, looking after the flood, your team was there and they were visiting different areas also, and they have taken to the field also. See, which I have said, it's Balochistan, Sindh, and few districts of KP and Punjab also. Now they've gone. The poverty level has gone down. So we will be crossing from 8.7 to maybe 10 or 9.5 something. But we are not happy with that. We will be happy when we go from 8.7 to 7, 6, 5, 4 like this. We are working on it that we should have this exit policy also.
Okay.
That we should give beneficiary, like suppose soft loan. We are giving scholarship to their children also. They should get educated. They should get jobs. They should have vocational training. They should get job also.
True.
Connect them with the Ministry of Overseas. They should get vocational training. They should get job, and they should be exiting from this policy.
Exactly.
So when they will be exited from their policy, that will be the success story for BSP.
Inshallah.
That will not be the success story that we are going from 8.7 to 10 or 11 or 12. We're going down is success.
Exactly, and we certainly want such a success story as well, and we are glad that that this is a part of our vision too as well, and your vision as well. But sir, having said that, since you've spoken about DA Khan, where our team was there, our Deputy Controller Sahib Jamshed Sultan Sahib was there, my wonderful co-host Haja Sati Saiba was there. How do you think that the rehabilitation activities have been taking place, particularly in your area as well, and all over Pakistan, wherever the flood hit
I think I
people
should appreciate
livelihood?
Pakistan nation also, because when I was in flood area visiting different areas, I seen a lot of people coming, especially in my area. They were working in different area also, because I'm giving example of my area where I was working there. I have seen a lot of people coming from different part of the country. Somebody were having food, someone having their medical camps. We don't know them, but we were going there. They were saying, we asked them where are you from. We are some from Islamabad, Lahore, Peshawar, whatever. And they were supporting people of, and then we were kind of guiding them also. Don't do here, but go in this area because they are lacking because of things there. They have supported us. Then the government was supporting, which I have said about 25,000 rupees. And then there was like NDMA and PDMA was working. Government was working also there. Now the main thing is reconstruction. The flood is not over.
True.
We are sitting in Islamabad. We think there is no flood.
Exactly.
But if you go still in Sindh, the water is still there. Because thing is, the flash flood and the water from Balochistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa all ends up in Sindh.
Exactly.
And then this is going to see.
And sir, just yesterday I was watching on news too as well that that the people of Kamalia were actually dancing because their route now was actually joined with the help of a bridge, and that now they could travel across Kamalia too as well. So I think that is something which everybody needs to kind of consider over here. But sir, thank you very much for joining us. It was wonderful to have you over here and to speak about how the government of Pakistan is actually looking after the well-being of Pakistani people, which I believe is great. And it's not very often that we see a lot of people coming or joining us on our television shows, so that to spread more awareness amongst people. But having said that, one last thing, sir, which is not going to be just according to your portfolio, but since we are a morning show, we're not a political show. So most of the time, whenever in the evening we see you on television in a political show, the kind of conversation is very different. But having said that, there was one more thing which I wanted to speak about, and that is that usually whenever I've seen the leadership of Pakistan People's Party, I've seen them well dressed, very well spoken, and then they're very soft in their behaviors too as well. Is it within the party? Is it a culture, or it's natural?
It's kind of natural also, but the culture of Pakistan People's Party is that we have been educated by our leadership that we should respect each other.
MashaAllah.
I have got my opinion. I might be wrong. I should respect your opinion. You should respect my opinion. Thing is, if I'm sitting in talk shows, suppose this is the very in the evening, why should I fight?
True.
I've got my opinion. And if I can give my opinion softly, and I can give my opinion harshly also.
Harshly, yeah.
But
so
up
you
to
choose to give it softly.
It is softly. Why should I be harsh? For what?
Exactly.
What will I get in return?
True. That's.
But there are something, unfortunately, in our different political parties. Might be it's there. If they are harsh, they are very aggressive, then they get appreciation, which I don't think so. It's good.
Exactly.
I have my opinion. That's it.
So it transcends from the leadership of
if
the
I'm
party.
respecting you, I expect respect from your side also.
Exactly. And obviously that's what we are going to share with you and with our viewers too as well. But thank you very much, Honorable Minister, for being with us. It was lovely to be in conversation. I would certainly want to applause, for the kind of initiatives taken for the well-being of
I
the
want to
Pakistani
also appreciate you and your team, the PTV World also. that you are spreading our voice to all over Pakistan and your viewers.
And inshallah, we will keep at it as well. And for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, with that, we're actually going to go towards a very humble and small break. Please don't go anywhere, because when we come back, we're actually going to talk about something which is really crucial for our well-being. Thank you so much for staying with us, ladies and gentlemen. We're going for a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good morning. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Thank you very much for staying tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, the name happens to be Shahzad Hasan Khan. If in case you've just tuned into PTV World, you're watching What This Morning. Earlier, ladies and gentlemen, we were in conversation with the Honorable Minister of State and Poverty Alleviation and Social Safety, Mr. Faisal Kareem Kundi. Spoke quite a lot about the well-being of the people of Pakistan who were affected by floods terribly. Ladies and gentlemen, alhamdulillah, I think that the condition now looks quite amazing, where people are being helped by the Ministry of Poverty Alleviation, the BISP program, which is the Benazir Income Support Program. They've been dispensing a larger amount of money, for example, 70 billion rupees to 2.8 million people. Not just that, 55 billion rupees payment has been released within the first quarter for the women who come under the Kafalat program as well. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I think there's another way to look at the picture. Now, for example, if we see that a lot of people in Pakistan actually suffer from coronary diseases, not just that, I think we really need to talk about there's hypertension, there's diabetes, there's cancer, there's so many other problems that there's a lot of load onto our healthcare providers and the hospitals which we have at our disposal. But having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that there are a few things which we can make better. For example, if you're not going to fall sick, obviously the pressure is not going to be onto the healthcare giving system as well. So why am I saying so? Is because of the fact that just yesterday, World Health Organization actually released a report where they said that these trans fats which are being consumed by us over here, they actually said that, that you are actually to stop producing trans fat because of the fact that, that it creates a lot of coronary diseases. Not just that, 500,000 newborn babies die just because that we've been consuming those trans fatty acids as well. And to kind of talk about that, ladies and gentlemen, we're very lucky that we've been joined by an expert on this as well. He happens to be Dr. Asad Akbar Khan Sahab. Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. How are you?
Walaikum salam. Good morning to you, sir.
So, Asad bhai, obviously, when I read the report, it came to me as a shock as well. Almost some 50 countries were supposed to do that, out of which 16 countries couldn't really do it. They couldn't stop the production of trans fats as well. And having said that, Pakistan happens to be one of them. And it is very unfortunate, polio still exists within the country. Now we're looking at where we certainly were supposed to kind of, stop the production of trans fat, but it still exists over here, unfortunately. What do you think, for our viewers, what is trans fat and how do you think that it is harmful for us?
Shahzad, again, excellent program. I was watching you guys before this, and I think very topical, especially regarding the flood relief, and it's amazing how much effort is going behind the scenes to improve the situation there. So regarding this trans fat, and I was reading the report by WHO yesterday, which you were mentioning earlier. So trans fat, so just for the viewers, traditionally speaking, we have always been taught that there have been two types of fats, saturated fats and unsaturated fats. And pretty much anybody who is a bit more health aware than usual considers that saturated fats are the bad ones and unsaturated fats have always been considered the better ones. Saturated fats include ghee and stuff like that, which has traditionally been deemed as a very bad sort of fat.
Or cooking oils?
Cooking oils, huh? So we're coming to cooking oil. So cooking oil, vegetable cooking oils have traditionally been deemed as unsaturated fat and healthier than the saturated version of these fats. Now, what trans fat is, this sort of came into more of a limelight around 2018. That's when WHO really focused on it. So trans fat is essentially a type of unsaturated fat. And what happens is that these vegetable oils that the industry consumes, the shelf life of these oils is not that good. And that's one of the reasons why it's healthy, that if something is being cooked in it, it has to be consumed pretty fresh, otherwise it's going to go raw. to increase the shelf life of products that are being cooked in these, they have started adding hydrogen to this. So so hydrogen is what makes the prime difference between saturated and unsaturated fat.
Okay.
So what's happening now is that these unsaturated fats, which had less amount of hydrogen, are being made sort of artificially into a more hydrogenated version. And what that does is,
So the unsaturated fat is becoming the saturated
saturated fat. It's sort of midway between it, but it's sort of actually worse than the saturated fat because it's an artificial form of fat that we are creating. And the prime purpose of it is to make this, the fat into a solid form. So the reason they want to make it into a solid form is that that's easier for industry to consume. If you have these edible oils like olive oil and stuff, which are much fresher and totally unsaturated, these only exist in liquid form, and
So
they are very hard for the
expensive too.
industry and very expensive, and the shelf life is very short.
True.
Whereas these trans fats are sort of half saturated, and their shelf life is longer. And what they're trying to do is that, and the benefit is that you can use this for frying way more than the regular unsaturated
So
fat.
you keep on using the same oil over and over again.
And that's why industry loves it. It's a very cheap way of getting unsaturated fat, and you're using it multiple times without the need for
But Doctor, what I
changing.
want my viewers to understand is that it is best for us that we use the unsaturated
Yeah.
fat. And having said that, how do you think that it is going to have a lot of impact on our well-being? So first of all, let's kind of have that line in between that. Okay, for example, unfortunately, if we are going to make this wrong choice of using the saturated fat, what kind of illnesses can actually come our way, and what kind of trouble we will have in near future, God forbid.
So this trans fat is, as I said earlier, is actually worse than the saturated fat. And what it causes is, so the saturated fat, which was always considered the bad fat, was notorious for increasing the bad cholesterol, which is the LDL cholesterol in your body. So this trans fat, what it does is it not only increases the LDL cholesterol, but it also reduces the good cholesterol, which is the HDL cholesterol. So it's harming you in sort of it's like a double-edged sword. It's harming you both ways.
So you're at the edge of a heart stroke.
Heart stroke, exactly. So what I tell my patients is that the fabric or the material of which these blood vessels, the blood channels that supply our brain, our heart and our kidneys is made is exactly the same. So if you get cholesterol to deposit in any one of them, there's a 95% likelihood that you have cholesterol in all three of them. So if you have a heart attack, you have a very high likelihood of having a stroke and also kidney damage as well. So you need to prevent the ingestion of this sort of trans fat. So the way to prevent it is, the primary use of this trans fat is frying. So all these industry-based frying products like donuts and things like that, these chicken nuggets and stuff,
sausages.
frozen pizza.
Yeah.
Frozen pizza is becoming very popular in Pakistan because kids want fast food. And one of the surveys that Harvard did a few years ago, and it was published in one of the journals of prevention, and what they found was that the 70% of people knew that frozen pizza and all these fried foods are bad for you. I think if you ask even on Pakistani streets, most of the people will tell you, yeah, we know that this food is bad. But 79% of them said that we use it because it's much easier to get and quicker to get. True. Whereas if you go for freshly cooked food like karahi and stuff, although we consider it not as healthy, but it takes about an hour.
But then what we do is that we would actually
ask for
put an
desi
entire
ghee.
packet of butter into the kadai too as well.
Exactly.
And be like,
Yeah, we take the healthy part out of it. Whereas if it's cooked in olive oil and stuff, it's much healthier
Exactly.
than like a fast food burger and stuff
True.
like that.
But sir, having said that, I think, while we've spoken about how we're cooking, our food into saturated fats, which are not great for us as well. Having said that, while you spoke about frozen foods, I think we would certainly need to address this issue, because I would want to go back in time where my mother would get up every single morning and made sure that she's going to make breakfast and lunch for
Fresh,
all 7 of us siblings. Not 1, not 2, not 3, all 7 of us.
Yes.
But now, and that was freshly cooked,
Yes.
may it be anda paratha, may it be any sandwich, it was freshly cooked.
Exactly.
And we would make sure that, we would have desi ghee coming from the village, or, my grandfather would get it for us too.
No
as well.
chemicals.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
Wo jannat mein khush rahe, ameen.
Inshallah.
But sir, having said that, now what I've seen is that there is a transition. Now the transition is that obviously not everybody is on time, first of all. Now the mother either, she needs to dress up the babies
Yeah.
or probably, look after what they're going to take for lunch. So for lunch, we have an easy pick. An easy pick is nuggets. Easy pick is
Fried,
sausages.
yeah.
Easy pick is fried food.
Yeah.
So imagine first we are actually cooking in that oil, which is not healthy at all.
Yeah.
But then we are giving them that saturated fat over and over again in terms of the kind of food they're going to
Yeah.
have. What sort of health problems can all of those children go through in near future, God forbid, if we continue to do this practice?
Yeah. So one of the schools in Islamabad, my kids go to it. So they started this sort of pilot study, and they checked the cholesterols of these kids who are in grade 8, 9 and 10 and stuff. And what they found was that the cholesterol levels was through the roof. And obviously at that age, there are two primary reasons for it. One is congenital. If your parents have this gene in their blood, that they will have high cholesterol. But I think on top of it, the lifestyle has changed. We have moved towards fast food that we have discussed already. And the other issue is lack of physical activity. And the kids are becoming, this is more of an iPhone age. There is not much of physical activity going on. Kids going into the park, and we were just discussing amongst our friends that we never said to our parents that we are bored in a park, and they would come to you within 5 minutes and they would want you to find them an activity in a park, whereas we would be hard to even find for our parents in the park. Huh? They would exactly. Exactly. They would beat us to get us inside the house. Huh? So that whole thing has changed. And the American College of Cardiology now has recommended to start these cholesterol lowering medicines in teenage years, because they've seen, obviously this fast food culture came into US way before us. We could not afford it then. Now even people who cannot afford a McDonald's or a KFC, there are like Lasani burgers and things which are doing the same thing, maybe with less hygiene. But people are moving towards that rather than freshly cooked food. So
I think
we need to avoid it.
When you spoke about USA, I think the problem over here, there is a little more bigger and more challenging, because imagine, so we go over here, the kind of a size of a cold drink is this much, the size of a cold drink over there is this much, the size of fries is this much as well. And having said that, I want to take you back in time where I used to argue with my mother that I wanted to go out to play cricket.
Yeah.
And then she would be like, no. And then we would like, kyun nahi? Reason bata de. And, they would never have a reason. So we always had a longing for that. And just a day ago, while the entire country did not have any electricity, we saw those, I think I got nostalgic, because imagine that the entire family was sitting together. They were talking, they were playing, they were chit-chatting, and it felt so wonderful. Having said that, now, we've obviously spoken about cholesterol. What are the other repercussions, God forbid, if we continue to have the same diet and the same oil and the same trans fats?
So in addition to cholesterol, so cholesterol leads to strokes, heart attacks and kidney disease as well. In addition to that, what we are seeing a surge of in Pakistan is diabetes. So Pakistan is going to be at, I think, third highest in terms of prevalence of diabetes in the world, after I think China and India. And we are going to beat US to it, which is not very easy to do. And these numbers are based on the number of patients who are identified as diabetics. We don't even know, there's a vast majority of patients who don't even get checked, and because obviously multiple reasons, like if they don't feel it. Typically patients would tell me, ji kabhi mehsoos hi nahi hui. So I'd ask them, what symptoms do you think you're going to feel, and then there is no real answer to it. So we are not even checking it. So type 2 diabetes is very common in people who are consuming these sort of foods, and lack of physical activity obviously comes along with it. So diabetes and diabetes itself can damage the entire body, like from nerves, kidneys, brains, eyes, everything gets damaged by diabetes. And the third thing is your immune system. So this surge of infections in our kids, which the rest of the world showed data that their kids are not really dying from COVID. Whereas we saw multiple, like even I think in Karachi they said it's because of a different strain of COVID and stuff. There might be those reasons, but rest of the world had no issues with their kids suffering from COVID in terms of serious illness. But in Pakistan we had major illnesses seen in kids. We saw kids losing their eyesight and things like that from COVID. So lack of physical exercise plus this sort of food is going to lead to lack of immunity as well.
Exactly. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing that as well. And in recent times, each and every one of us has witnessed that, how babies were actually getting ill as well. And I've spoken about it before as well, that post-COVID there was this syndrome which is known as the multi-inflammatory syndrome, which a lot of babies actually got ill because of, and then the doctors were unable to figure out because they would say that there's an infection in the body, but they wouldn't realize where it was, and eventually they came up with this study in USA that that this is a post-COVID symptom, which says that it is multi-inflammatory syndrome. So there's not infection in one place, rather the entire body is kind of contributing to it, unfortunately, and it's a very difficult phase of life because I've gone through it as a father. My daughter was admitted in the hospital for an entire week. We were not able to figure it out, and then obviously, alhamdulillah, shukr, alhamdulillah, I need to thank Allah Almighty for blessing her with great health as well, and we certainly need to stop this. But thank you very much, Dr. Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. But very quickly, so for somebody who actually works out for 5 days a week, for example, or do some exercise 45 minutes every single day, 5 days a week, do you think that they will lower their risk of cholesterol and having heart attacks even if they are consuming saturated fats?
Yeah, definitely. So exercise I tell my patients, especially the diabetic ones, कि if you exercise regularly, वो आपके at least खाने से related गुनाहों के ऊपर ना थोड़ा सा पर्दा डाल जाएगा. तो food wise you can definitely consume it if you are burning it out. You can consume it. So अगर आपको खाने की आदत है इस तरह, if you are into that sort of junk food, then make sure that you are working out as well.
Exactly, and there's always this rule which I would want my viewers to follow as well, and that is that that it totally depends on the amount of food you consume, which will kind of tell you that in near future, God forbid, what kind of medication you will have to take and how many of it you will have to take. If the portion size is this much, ladies and gentlemen, please get ready to take as much medicines as well. If the portion size is this much, obviously there won't be any medicine for you to consume as well, because that's going to keep you healthy.
Everything in moderation.
Yeah, everything in moderation. But thank you very much, Dr. Saab, for being with us. Lovely to be in conversation with you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, on World this morning, the only thing which is not in moderation is energy, and making sure that we make our audiences more aware of what the present issues are and how we are actually curtailing to it. It was our humble initiative. It was our humble effort to kind of share that how you can actually look after the well-being of your own self. And once the entire generation is going to be well, ladies and gentlemen, there will be lesser pressure onto the health caregivers as well. So for everybody who's out there, ladies and gentlemen, just look after yourself, spread the word, make sure that you do not consume trans fats as well, or saturated fats, as wonderfully explained by Dr. Saab over here as well. Until next time, look after yourselves. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Remember us all.